Ladies, gentlemen, and others, welcome back to Boss Comics. Tonight, I have a very simple question for you. Why the hell was Danny Phantom so great? Seriously, I really love that show. I have the entire series on DVD. My wife and I have both each watched it from start to finish at least 3 times, and I'm sure that many people out there have completed a run through of it many more times than that. Now, I understand that Butch Hartman, co-creator of Danny Phantom, is a largely unrepentant piece of garbage. Can you say Oaxis? It rhymes with scam. But the fact remains that Danny Phantom was really something special. And remember, we previously talked about the importance of trying to separate art from artist, and fortunately, Danny Phantom is great for many reasons that have nothing to do with Butch Hartman. Don't tell him that, though. The motherfucker thinks he invented our childhoods. Anyway, Danny Phantom, cartoon in like the early 2000s, I think. Cartoon Network. I didn't come to appreciate Danny Phantom until after its run was complete. I mean, like, I'm nearly 32, so like I had largely stopped watching like new kids cartoons, I think, by the time Danny Phantom like was coming out. And I didn't start like to kind of really go through it until much later. I think I must have been like 20, I think, the first time I sat down and tried some of Danny Phantom, because I love superhero stuff, obviously. And when it was brought to my attention that that's really what Danny Phantom was, I was like, oh shit, this is cool. I hated that Fairly Odd Parents style of presentation, though, and I still do. Although there are aspects to Danny Phantom that I like a little bit more than anything in like Fairly Odd Parents. I like Danny's design, especially when he's in Ghost Boy form. I think that Sam is really cool looking. Ember McLean is oh god, like she's super fucking cute. And yeah, like, I mean, all the villain designs are great, right? Like, that's the thing. Now, as I understand it, Butch Hartman is not responsible for much of the aesthetics of the show. There's another guy, I wish I had his name in front of me, but I think like primarily the aesthetics are based on somebody else's work. I don't know this for sure, but I was watching some video the other day where the claim was made that Butch Hartman gets way more credit than he deserves for the actual visuals of the show, which again I take kind of like in a mixed sort of way, because I don't really like large aspects of the visuals, but there are parts of it that I think are really cool. I think the designs and the colors, I love all that green, that like ghastly neon green. I love it so much. But I think what I love most about Danny Phantom, apart from the cooler aspects of the aesthetics, are the characters. The characters in Danny Phantom are so great. My wife and I are constantly talking about the really wholesome relationship that forms between Danny and his sister Jasmine, and how it's just so cool the way that like when she finds out early on what's going on with him and that he's like flying around being a ghost superhero, she doesn't confront him. She just backs off, stops being overbearing, and just starts giving him like unconditional silent support, and is just like the best. Like, holy shit. I wish my sister wasn't such a piece of garbage. I would love to have a Jazz Fenton in my life because she is something special. I think we could all use a big sister like Jazz. So that's cool. Jack and Maddie Fenton are largely garbage parents. And I wish that I wish that they'd been better held accountable for just how terrible they were in the show. That's one of my bigger criticisms. But, you know, like, kudos to the show for delving into some really dark territory with them and what was really going on there, you know, like the existential horror for Danny of being this, like, part ghost and to have to live under this roof with your parents who are constantly talking about how they want to capture your alter ego and, like, dissect you to the point where you're terrified of them ever finding out what you are, because you're afraid that not only will they no longer love you, but they'll hate and fear you and fucking kill you. Like, that's some deep, dark shit for a kid's cartoon. Holy crap. And it's handled in this really, like, effective way. And, you know, that's the other cool thing, too. You know, talking more about characters, all the villains in Danny Phantom were... I don't know that there were a lot of them that you would root for, but there was always enough there like, you can understand and maybe, like, sympathize with many of them, right? Like, Ember kind of has a certain amount of tragedy to her. What is it? Skulker. There's some interesting stuff going on there. There's a couple of, like, irredeemable villains. Like, Spectra is a piece of garbage. She's hot though. But no, like, Spectra is, like, this horrible piece of garbage. You know, Desiree is just out to, like, fuck everybody up with her insidious wish granting abilities. So, like, you know, but there's a lot of nuance to, like, a lot of these characters, like Vlad, you know, Vlad, the big bad of the series. There's lots of interesting stuff there with him. You know, he's not a good guy, but, you know, you can kind of appreciate his jealousy, I think, you know, like, you're not meant to excuse his dastardly deeds, but you can kind of, like, you can understand him. And again, I think for a kids cartoon, it's really cool that they could put in that effort to find ways to make villains, like, at least somewhat relatable. You know, a lot of these characters could have just been, like, blatant caricatures, and they avoided that, I think, by and large. Let's see. What else could I talk about? Sam and Tucker is Danny's best friends. I don't know, they're kind of obnoxious sometimes. Like, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about Sam and Tucker. I don't like Tucker much at all. I find him really aggravating. He's like the comic relief character. I don't find him very funny. I find that he can descend into, you know, pettiness, like, really easily. I don't like his heightened goofiness as a teenage boy. I just kind of don't, you know, enjoy it very much. They're going for comedy and it doesn't work for me. That's fine. Whatever. Like, he's not the worst character of all. But Sam's cool. I guess there's been a lot of pushback against her recently. Like, there's this idea, I guess, that Sam Manson is not a terribly, like, feminist character. I have to do, like, more research into that, you know, because, again, I haven't seen the show in a while. I've just been seeing a lot of videos lately about Butch Hartman, which made me think about Danny Phantom, so I kind of wanted to do this off-the-cuff retrospective. But, I don't know. I kind of liked the will they, won't they thing with Sam and Danny, which I know is probably a little shallow of me, but, like, whatever. It's a cartoon made for children. I just like seeing their romance kind of blossom. I like the fact that their relationship actually goes places. That's cool. A lot of times in these shows, like, we're lucky if they hold hands. They kiss at least twice. That's pretty badass. Like, go Danny, go Sam, you guys. That's awesome. No, and I like that on multiple occasions she really tends to have Danny's back. But I also do recall, like, her being kind of obnoxious too sometimes, like, the way she would, like, make demands of Danny. I don't know, a couple of times in the series it made me really uncomfortable. I don't remember her always being the most positive friends, but, you know, again, I wonder how much of that is, like, criticism of the writing and how much of it is just You know, like, is that bad writing, or are these characters meant to be flawed? You know, and we're being shown that they are, in fact, imperfect people. I would say that maybe the weakest character of the whole main cast is, unfortunately, you know, Danny himself. I think he's not that like he doesn't have a character, but I think he's largely pretty one note, right? He's pretty typical, like, good kid hero type. He's pretty generic, kind of like a archetypal, like, self-insert sort of character, I guess. Like, Tucker and Sam are very distinct characters. Danny, I feel like if you had to, like, describe him, he doesn't have notable character traits outside of just being a good kid and maybe a little neurotic, I guess, but never in a way that, like, is really interesting to talk about. So I guess that's kind of a misstep with the series, right? But I think the idea was, you know, the target audience was obviously young boys, and I think they just kind of wanted those kids to be able to project themselves onto Danny. I always rebel that kind of writing. I don't think it's really helpful in the long run, but nobody listens to me. But you know, Danny's not offensive in his genericness. He's effective enough. He's a good kid. That's his character. He's a good kid. Also, the principal, whose name I can't remember, is voiced by Ron Perlman, and he's like the unsung MVP of the series. Holy shit. And you know, that's the other thing too that I really appreciate about Danny Phantom, is that it is a complete story. You know, if you watch the whole thing from beginning to end, like, I guess a lot of people think that after season 1 the whole thing just starts to go downhill, and by season 3 it's a dumpster fire. I have to watch it through again. I don't really remember it being that terrible. I just remember thinking the ending with Phantom Planet was really badass. I kind of really enjoyed how everything ended up. All the major threads are kind of closed off, I think, by and large. That's cool. You know, Danny becomes like a real hero, you know, loved and respected by everybody. Like, that's some dope stuff going on, you know? Really, Danny Phantom is just, it's wholesome, feel good, actiony fun for families with just a little bit more nuance and substance thrown in than we might otherwise expect, I guess, from a cartoon of its time. I like it a lot, and that theme song, by the way, is catchy as hell. He's a phantom. I love that song. I'm gonna go listen to it like 16 times now after I close out this video. I don't know. This is a really lighthearted video. Tomorrow's new comic book day. I think Spider-Man and Daredevil are both coming out, so I'll probably take a crack at those bad boys then. Daredevil's been on like a 2-month break. But for tonight's video, I just kind of wanted to keep it easy and kind of reminisce a little bit about one of my favorite cartoons over the last like couple of decades. I've been saying for a long time that I wanted to delve more into animation on this channel, but I haven't really done that yet. So here I am dipping my toe into the water. Starting next week, I'm going to be experimenting a little bit. I'm going to be delving into some at least lightly scripted content, because I know I tend to ramble a little bit, and I know that not everybody's into that. I'm all about transparency on this channel. I'm trying to work on improving my audience retention, because it's not great. So clearly people are not responding to my unscripted, super rambly, like I think I'm a fairly decent writer. I think my public speaking needs a lot of work. So maybe if I start incorporating more scripted content, that will help the numbers. We'll see. The music doesn't seem to be detrimental, and I like the music, so the music stays for now. I'm just trying to balance, like, you know, this sounds bad, but like minimal effort for the sake of my own sanity with being able to talk about the things that I like. I don't want this to turn into a thing where I'm pouring like hours and hours and hours into like a simple comic book review. That doesn't strike me as terribly effective. And some of these other jabronis on YouTube can make it work with just rambling into a mic with a static image, displayed. Why not me? Well, I gotta work on things. I gotta improve. So, but that's coming starting next week. Tomorrow's new comic book day, so we'll get a couple of reviews on Wednesday and Thursday. Friday's video, we'll try to do something special. I'll see how it goes. But thanks for listening to this. This was a bit of a new a new thing to try here on the channel. I think maybe another cartoon I really want to talk about soon is Gargoyles. Gargoyles was my shit. You guys remember Gargoyles? If not, you should. At least the first 2 seasons. The 3rd season never happened. It's not real. It's a figment of your imagination. Anyway, thanks so much, guys, for listening. If you want to support what I do here, you can buy me a coffee down at the link below, which is a simple one-time $3 donation. It is greatly appreciated. But you can also support me just by liking the video, clicking subscribe, and making sure to tick the bell for notifications. I'm trying to stick to uploading new videos Monday through Friday. So, I'd like to have you here. Okay, the more the merrier. Help me, pursue the typical indie comics grift of building up my platform so that I can parlay the whole thing into a successful Indiegogo campaign to launch my, true form as an indie comics creator. Like I said, I'm all about the transparency here on this channel. No, but thanks for sticking around and listening to me ramble. Much love, much appreciation to you all. I hope that you're well, and I hope that I will see you tomorrow. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.